So in our last session, we valued AllState. We got 68, 69.18, and 83.93. Now what we want to do is build a data table. And so to build a data table, what we need to do, we're going to do it with the dividend discount model. What we need to do is put this formula in here, but we need to put it in minute detail. So essentially what we're going to say is, you take this model up here, the dividend discount model equals dividend 0 plus long-term growth divided by KE minus long-term growth. What we want to do is break up the KE. So let me copy this down here. So what we want to do is break up the KEs back to its original part, which is the risk-free rate plus beta times the equity risk premium. And the reason we're doing that is we want to run a scenario with different long-term growth rates and different betas, so we want that in the formula. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to build that formula right here from scratch. So equal dividend 0, go find dividend 0, times 1 plus the long-term growth, close parentheses, divide by the risk-free rate plus beta times the market risk premium minus the long-term growth. And again, remember the long-term growth and equity risk premium just happen to be the same in this problem. I wish I had not done that, but I just happened to make them the same. They don't need to be the same. So we hit enter. We should get the same 68.18 we got before. And sure enough, we did. So now what we want to do is we're going to run some scenarios on beta. We want to run some scenarios on growth. So on beta, if you look back into the instructions, it said we want to run beta from a range of 125 to 0.9. 125 to 0.9. So 1.25. You want to start with the largest beta and come down. And then what you to do is equal the 1.25 minus, and the instructions say to go down in increments of 5. So we said we want to go from 1.25 to 0.9 in increments of 0.05. So we'll go down to 0.9. I'm going to select all of those. Hit your shift key. I want to make them 2 decimal places so they look the same. And then on growth, what we say is we want to use 5%. We want to go from 5.5% to 6 in 0.25 increments. I mean 4.5%, excuse me, 4.5% to 6 in 0.25. So 4.5%, and we're going to take that, equal that plus 0.0025. We're going to take that all the way up to 6%. So I went a little far. So you want them all to be percentages, so I'll click percent with 2 decimal places. So 4.5% to 6%, 4.5 for 6. So we've got that. And we've got our formula right there. We got beta here. I'm going to highlight this entire thing for beta, and if you do the Alt key, Alt, and hit HMC, it will combine those cells and make it all one cell. So I'll do it here with the growth. So you do Alt, highlight, well, sorry, to your Shift button to highlight everything. Lift up on the Shift button, do Alt, and while you're holding the Alt down, do HMC, and that will give you that for growth. So I'm going to actually color code this. I'm going to make beta blue with orange lettering. And then for growth, I'm going to use green with white lettering. Use some bold again for you to make it look good. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click on the word growth. I'm going to format cells. I'm going to go to alignment. And I want the text to be sideways. So I'll do that. And I'm going to close in the box a little bit. Oops. Got the wrong column. Closing the box a little bit. I don't know why it's doing that. And the last thing you can do, you can format the cell again, and you can center it vertically. So it's right in the center. and I'll make it the same. I don't know what font I used here, 16 and 16, so the same fonts. Just make it look good. So there's my betas going across the top. I'm going to make my beta yellow instead of that orange. You can barely see it. All right, so I got growth, I got beta, and here what we do. So once you got the table set up, and use your own colors, make it look, put your signature on it again, make it look like something you've created. We're going to highlight this entire table, and then we're going to type data up here at the top, what if analysis, and data table. The data table says what is in your cell, in the row. Well, beta is in the row. So you go up and find beta and you click on that. It wants to know, what do you want to vary? I want to vary beta. And in what column do you have? You have long-term growth, so go up and find the long-term growth and vary that and say OK. And it will bring in all of these valuations. I'm going to click on them and type on the $ and you might click the whole thing and maybe do column width and make the column width maybe 10, just so everything will show up. So there we have all these prices. Now remember, our assumption was 5.5% and a beta of 1.1. There it is right there, 69.18. There's our assumption. So I'm going to do a few things with this. First of all, I really don't want this price showing up. You have to put it there because that creates a data table. But I'm just going to go up and I'm going to make the text white. That way that doesn't show up. So that cleans that up. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in AllState's current price. So if you go over to Yahoo Finance, just click and you just search, it's finance.yahoo.com, and on the quote lookup, type AllState's ticker, which is ALL. Make sure you have AllState. I've made a mistake of it, didn't take the second letter, and I actually had a different company. So you click on AllState, and we'll bring up AllState and show you their current price. Their current price is $105.47. Now, part of that might be because we don't have current data, but I've already forgot what the number was. $105.47. And we value it at $69. So obviously we think this stock is overpriced. You notice there's nothing in here that is below that amount. So we think the highest it's worth is $146, but it's currently trading for $157. Now that might be because of COVID-19 and people aren't driving around, and so auto claims are down dramatically. Remember, this is mainly a property and casualty company. They also do homeowners, and so people at home a lot more. Maybe there's fewer homeowner claims. I've seen debates both ways. You would think there'd be fewer thefts because people are home all day, but there could be more fires and people cooking at home and those kind of things. But anyway, AllState seems to be doing very, very well here. So what I'm going to do, the next thing is I'm going to highlight everything inside this table, not the beta, not the growth, every inside. And I'm going to do conditional formatting. I'm going to highlight cells. If they are greater than the current price, so greater than B19, I want it to be red field with dark red text. I'm sorry, green. So that's good. If our value is higher, we want it to be green. All right, so if it's greater than that, we want it to be green. Now you notice none of our values are greater than that. The next conditional format I'm going to do is highlight if it's less than, and again I'm going to click on the 157. It's less than 157, I want it to be red. Now in this case, everything is red, so what that means is we think AllState is terribly overpriced. Now, what if AllState was only trading for $78 right now? Well, then you would notice that some are green and some are red. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this middle section in here. I'm going to say, oh, that's maybe a little too much. I'm going to go right in here, and I'm going to go up and I'm going to do a thick border. I'm going to say these are my main valuations for AllState. There's my main valuation, but this is my main area. You can see there it's red even with the 78. If I bring the 157 over, this stock just looks terribly overvalued. I want you to use data tables when you do your group projects and you value the stock. I think they're really powerful. Where's your focus? I really don't think AllState is a 0.9 beta stock. We'll talk about that more in class. I really don't think they're 1.25. I really don't see them growing. In fact, I probably would bring this range down a little bit lower here. Higher beta and a little bit lower growth. I actually think these are pretty aggressive growth, and they're still valued extremely expensive there. Now, what if you're only trading for $60? Then you'd have a lot of green. So the other thing you can do is, make the titles look good. So you might bold them and increase their size or something. Just whatever you think makes it look good. So there's your data table. We can increase this as well. Just watch your column widths. Make sure nothing's blurring out. So I'll make the column width 12. Now you have something you can copy and paste into a report. So for this company, it doesn't look too good because the stock is really expensive. And when I write these problems, I write them several months in advance. And I try to make them so they don't look all red or all green, but AllState's obviously been on a tear here recently. So, but again, if they were trading for $75, the table would be much more interesting. Then you may not know whether you want to buy or sell. Now, with your group project, I will not allow you to say hold. You have to either say buy or sell. So if AllState were trading for $75, you might put a sell in because there's more sells that look like they're expensive than cheap. Here they look expensive because you think they're worth less than the current price. Here they look cheap. But anyway, that's the data table. I think it's really powerful, and you can probably think of many other examples to use data tables for besides just valuing a stock. I think they work extremely well for valuing a stock. So I really like this. I saw the first analyst report I had to look at when I was studying for the Certified Financial Analyst exam many, many years ago was an analysis of Merck, the pharmaceutical. And they had they didn't have one data table, they had multiple data tables, and they actually came up with over 130 different valuations for Merck. You can see here we have, I don't know how many that is, 56 valuations for Merck. They had over 130. Just shows you, any of these numbers seem reasonable to me, more in the center of this chart. But anyway, that shows you how to do a data table. So I definitely want you to do these when you do your group project. When we get ready for the group projects, I'm actually going to do an entire video of that entire project from scratch on a company you're not allowed to use, just so you can see how I did it now. So you'll see this data table example again.